Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom right hand corner we got Range starting as the Peach Protoss. Bottom left hand corner we got Midtack starting as the Midnight Blue Zerg. This is BSL 17 Hasuleague Group B Finals. Ranged is up a game over Midtack after creating some nice economic disruption in game 1. This is on Polypoid. Or is it Neo Sylphid? Who knows? Maybe one of the two. We'll never know. Thank you for the raid, by the way, Real Gubbins 42. Interesting. Not familiar with that name, but I will accept the raid for the Twitch audience. Ranged, I'm gonna favor actually here. Oh, it's Disperse. If you guys want to check out some fun NetHack action, if you love StarCraft, odds are you're probably going to enjoy NetHack. I recommend going ahead and first of all checking out NetHack at nethack.org. If you're wondering what it is, if you've heard of a rogue-like, Rogue is NetHack. It just was made even harder. And then once you've done that, follow Disperse, the word with a bunch of underscores, and the Real Gubbins 42 for people playing NetHack. Not even side game. We'll get back to StarCraft. Ranged getting the initial scout, also very cleverly staying at, well, he was initially staying out of creep range. It looks like he is going to catch, he's going to force an overpool here. Or maybe that, yeah, an overpool. Gonna hang out with the natural expansion, potentially try to deny additional base. Let's see if that adjusts. So Range currently has not sent out another probe. Is he gonna go for a 12 Nexus? It's possible he's gonna go for a 12 Nexus upon scouting this, which is a little bit crazy. Granted, his opponent hasn't scouted him. He's able to block. Wow, he's creating some good block at the natural expansion. He does have a game to drop. Okay, now he's sidling that out and dropping the Forge. But this is, I gotta say, a little bit risky. Overpool, granted you get some time leeway, but this was a very, very lackadaisical Forge and Nexus from Ranged opposite corner. Probe has taken a good amount of damage, but has disrupted this natural expansion of Midtack for an immense period of time. And we got the spawning pool up in Midtack. Okay, finally building some Zerglings, building the full fleet. We already have a photon cannon constructing opposite side. So Ranged getting a massive amount of, this ends up limiting larva, this ends up limiting all sorts of things, so really has messed with Midtack in stage 1. Looks like Midtack got a, I think he might even go for a Ling Flood here, so, because he got enough gas here to get Zergling speed, but his he is not bothered. Missed an opportunity to get a probe kill. I had those on move command rather than attack right there, but the probe is going to be able to sneak back in and see this. Nothing on gas, which has to lead him to believe that Midtack was going to go for a quick third hatchery. And that's also going to delay his layer tech overall. It looks like a second cannon getting dropped, and I believe that second cannon is also preventatory, just in case there was going to be a strong Zergling follow-up. But this will also help stop any sort of Zergling run-bys to a certain degree. Front door in there, going to go ahead and grab his assimilator. And if he really makes a quick push to tech, he might be able to get a lot of damage done, because without the additional gas, that could be a Hydra Den force. And look at this. So you got, I think Range saw the edge of that. Midtack trying to hide some Zerglings in the bottom left-hand corner. He is going for more of an aggressive Ling play as far as a follow-up. That's leaving him a very, very light worker count to start. 10 Zerglings out overall, but again, Range has these 2 cannons to work with. Maybe if he pulls probes, it'll be the even worse. But right now, they're grouping up to maybe go for a run-by. With this many, should be able to get through. And there wasn't anything blocking, so now Ranged in potentially some trouble. 6 Zerglings make it into the main. Starting to work on that pylon. We don't even have a Zealot out because of the delay of that gateway. A second pylon getting dropped, but let's see how much damage gets. We did another cannon being morphed. The Zerglings working on the pylon, however, rather than anything else. The probes are going to have to defend themselves and get speed Zerglings. That can be very, very difficult. So right now, Midtack getting some really good play and really softening up that initial Zealot. The probes making their way back. Some nice micro on Range. Loses a probe right there. Loses 2 probes. And the Zerglings now making their way against the Nexus. The cannon's warped in. The pylon has not. Now the pylon has just finished. And the Zergling's going to go ahead and exit. But this was a Ooh, losing some additional Zerglings right there. Another, is there going to be another cannon? It looks like the cannons are in sufficient range of the Nexus that he's going to leave it there. But that was a good amount of counter economic damage, and Midtech has been able to stabilize things as well. And also some additional Zerglings out in the field blockading additional information. So range in the dark, his economy has been halted. You can see he's actually even in workers, which is great for Midtech right this second. Cybernetics core is warping at the natural expansion, getting additional pylon down. Let's see if he can get that cybernetics. If he can get that Stargate down in a hurry, that could be a swing point the opposite direction, because this is 4th hatchery, 5 hatcheries up, and still no Hydralisk Den behind all of this, and not a lot of gas for Midtech either. But the Zerglings are going to have eyes interior to the base. By the way, out there in chatland, they are going to have eyes in the base to see the timing of that Stargate. The Zealots still trying to chase around and evict them. So plenty of scouting information, and also leaving Ranged a little bit more distracted than he would want to be otherwise. With just a single Zergling, you can start ignoring it. Evolution Chamber, Creep Colony. Finally, now we have some gas, so it's going to be the double Evolution Chamber build again. So we now know from the previous match that that was not in fact a mistake. It was in fact a strategic choice. But we still, do we have the Hydra Den here? No, still a Creep Colony. No Hydralisk Den at any position, which means he might need to morph a Spore Colony to keep these Overlords safe. This is an interesting build for Midtech that could potentially give him some strong mid-game play. 3rd cannon dropping, just in case there was a flood. Citadel of Adun dropping as well. One problem with going for, so now the Hydralisk Den dropping. One problem for Midtech in the space of this is if Ranged opts to go Dark Templar. What's up to Optimator in chat? If he opts to go Dark Templar, it could really stymie all sorts of things, especially if this nearby Overlord gets taken out, which it looks like it's going to get ignored for now, but Range should mentally note that location. A bunch of Zealots marching out with this one Corsair, sees the Spore Colony, sees the 2 hatcheries, sees great saturation, the Hydralisk Den and double Evolution Chamber. Does he respond with a second Forge of his own? He is getting a robotics facility, and I also want to see a Templar Archive. Seeing, yeah, there's the Templar Archives. And I want to see some Dark Templar with that lack of lair, because that means slow Overlords out in the field. So just a single Dark Templar able to make it out in forward field. And there's a time limit on that as well, where the Hydralisks start hitting their initial upgrades and are able to make it out. So this Overlord getting wiped out is actually key right here. In the meantime, Range staging up to maybe just go ahead and grab his 3rd, which could be playing right into Midtech's hands, because that could be the moment where Midtech is looking for that unit flood to start taking some map control. But in the meantime, Midtech building all sorts of drones. So Overlord down. Do we have at least... So we got the Templar Archives up. Are we going to see High Templar as the next cycle? Not a lot of gateways down for Ranged. That Overlord kill, however, did put Midtech in the red, which is going to be a reprieve, and Range has done a great job macroing. Here's that initial Dark Templar. And honestly, only 1 Dark Templar should be sufficient to provide some defense and maybe even open up this 3 o'clock for Ranged. Ranged starting to walk out. He does not have +1 weapons, +1 armor yet, nor does he have sufficient Hydralisks right this second to really engage this forward army. So mostly scouting, it looks like, with these initial 4 Hydralisks, seeing that Ranged is grouping up to grab that 3rd. Midtech might have some ability here. It looks like the Corsair is trying to push in. Midtech is playing very, very defensively. Psystorm, High Templar, and a shuttle also getting dropped in the background for Range to go ahead and try to stymie. Oh, it's going to be a DT drop. Even stronger. So Midtech, yeah, now he has to sit back. So despite having the upgrades, he doesn't have a lot of Hydralisks out in large enough numbers, nor does he have the Overlord support to really ignore a possible Dark Templar threat. The layer is up. There's no Overlords at the main. There's all sorts of tech here. This is also +2 Carapace, and the Dark Templar has been dropped off. Now a bunch of Hydralisks moving out for Midtech as Range is trying to establish his 3rd. The Zealots trying to push forward and create a delay. I don't know that there's no second or additional DT, but that initial DT is moving in, and Midtech is distracted, and so does not notice that he's losing the entirety of his main line. So he's going up. That's a cancellation from ranged. He's happy to go ahead and trade this base for everything at the main. He does need to micro that Dark Templar back. Looks like he is going to pull it back, but now that Midtech feels like, ha ha ha, I've got victory and I've got potentially contained, he's going to look back and see that his drone count has been absolutely obliterated. And all it's going to take is another potential Dark Templar here out in the front to clear out. You see the nearest Overlord trying to scoot out. Maybe some Psystorm. Looks like a cannon cleared. The Dark Templar still active, by the way. Finally, an Overlord making its way. I didn't get a look at that hero's number of kills, but that really hurt Midtech's army, and he was really counting on that big drone count to be able to saturate off 3 bases to really utilize the impact of the mid-game Hydralisks with higher than average upgrades so that he could keep ranged pinned back and stuck on 2 bases and go for a contain and overwhelm. Got some Zealots and High Templar stuffed in the shuttle now. Do we have any Hydralisks? I'm not seeing any Hydralisks hanging out at the main, so this could be another big Psystorm opportunity. Range in the meantime, 20 supply up, which is about where you want to be. Still not a game over. Midtech going to go ahead and grab a 4th base himself. So a lot's actually going to come down to this shuttle. There's an Overlord. I don't know how that's impressive. Range actually just pausing on the edge as the Hydralisks are moving up in a distraction. I gotta presume that was spotted by these 2 Overlords. Midtech, or was it? I don't see Midtech drawing back to engage. Instead, he's focusing on the attacks out here on the front. The Zealots dropping off, attacking that Hydralisk den, and the High Templar now making its way to the natural expansion. Is it even going to drop at the natural, or is it just going to go up to that 3rd? It looks like it's going to move up to the 3rd. So right now, Midtech not mining at the main. Range now moving out in the midst of this, doing a great job of doing some chaos management. So creating some chaos in the main. Turning around now that there's some Hydralisks there at the 9 o'clock location, is just going to park that unit there, working on the evolution chamber, recognizing the upgrade problem. It's going to come close. I don't know if he's going to get it. Also, behind this, Range going to go ahead and move forward. Oh, this is going to be close. And this is huge. Look how close. Man, that was big. So stopped +2 Carapace critically just as it was about to finish, which means Range is going to maintain an upgrade advantage here. And Midtech now down 40 supply. Hasn't been mining for quite some time. Accidental Sidestorm of the Observers a little bit here. And now Range going to be able to move in, deny the 4th base to Midtech, dropping some good Sidestorms at all ends. And right now, Midtech just doesn't have a cohesive attack force, and on top of that, establishes 3rd. Huge swing in events, and all of a sudden, Midtech down to half the supply of ranged, trying to go up and just piecemeal defend this additional hatchery. A bunch of Zerglings being produced to run out. Now, keep in mind, these Zerglings still going to be a little bit beefier than usual because they do have that +1 Carapace, but now that yeah, Midtech just going to GG right there. Holy cow, great play from ranged to close that game up. Going to move on to Group C. We see Urbmon and Ranged, who we could see as finalists at the end of this, honestly, the way they played here. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.